Hi, Nancy Burt-Preece here. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Here's any of my contact information. I am making this video for my demonstrator group Link by Ink as well as my own YouTube channel, so feel free to contact me. Today we are making a fun little treat holder. It's a fall treat holder. It holds one of the Bath and Body Works pocket bag. So I think those are cute. I love it because it uses the Sweet Jar bundle. You can see the little jar here. I'm casing it from Stamp with Nellie. So if you want to, she is from Great Britain. So if you want to go ahead and take a screenshot, I didn't put that on here. Go ahead. So that you have all the measurements that you will need, and we'll score it together and put it together so I can kind of show you how it goes, and hopefully I won't goof it up. We'll find out. So I'm going to move that to the side, and I'm going to show you because I'm going to be trying to teach this in a class, so I made a demo so they kind of know where to cut. I'm going to score it on the long side, the 6.5 side, at 2, 3, 5, and 6. And then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to score it at, turn it this way, sorry, because this should be at the bottom, 1/4, 1 1/4, 4 1/4, and 5 1/4. I also made a template to help people at my class know what parts to cut off. So I tried to put that down there so it would make sense to them, and I have it upside down. That's really great. It'll fit better this way. Sorry about that. So you can see everywhere I have it scribbled is where you're going to be cutting it off. I have a template for my class because I think it'll be easier when they're putting it together. I'm going to have everything scored, but I'm going to have them do the cutting. So I want to show it to you also. So I'm taking a piece of this gathered together. Now I could use either side. I think the leaves are so beautiful. And so I really enjoy this paper. And I wanted to feature a treat holder. I am doing all sorts of 3D products at this class. So let me show you how to score it. Hopefully you can see that okay. So if I bring back this information, I have to score, this is my long side, 6.5. I'm going to score it at 2. I'm going to score it at 3. I'm going to score it at 5. And I'm going to score at 6 inches. And I'm going to rotate it so this little 1/2 inch piece is at the bottom. Now I've got the 5 3/4 piece. I'm going to do this tricky on camera. I'm going to do a 1/4 inch on this side. Now I'm going to go 1 1/4. Then I'm going to do 4 1/4. And I'm going to do 5 1/4. I'm going to move that to the side and put that out of the way. Now, if you come to my class, or if you're trying to do this in a class, you can even kind of line these up. Or you could line this up so that you know what to take off. But I'm going to do it with you methodically, I hope. I'm going to have this little 1/4 inch piece at the bottom. I'm going to take my pair of snips, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up from the bottom to that. Oops, I forgot the next part. Let me do the scoring first with my bone folder. Then I'll start cutting because you'll be able to see them better. Now, it's designer series paper. Stampin' with Nellie did this with cardstock. So when you are using your bone folder, don't go so hard that you're ripping your designer series paper. So just be a little bit gentle, but you still do want to score that. I love this paper because the leaves go every which way, which is perfect because I don't have to worry about directionality, which is awesome. So I'm going to go back. This tiny little part is at the bottom. I'm going to cut up. You can see where the score line is. I'm going to cut from the bottom to the score line for every single one. So that's the first thing she did. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this little to the farthest right. Remember, this is my 1/4 inch. And I'm going to just take it off a little bit, give it a little bit of an edge there. While I'm at it, I'm going to come back to this score line, do the same thing, give it a little edge. And I'm going to cut this whole thing right off. Oops, make sure I got it all the way off. And come on, there we go. So you can see, I'm always going to have this on my right-hand side because this is our top tab that folds back. So now I know that I have to cut above here. I'm going to cut right above the score line, just a smidge, on both of these. Yep, I almost forgot. I'm going to cut just above the score line. I mean, just above. Now I'm going to come back and miter. Sometimes you can put some of these other ones down so you can see better. I'm going to miter the corner here and miter the corner there. Just, it tucks in better. It just does. I used to go, do you really have to miter corners? Yeah, you really do. When you're making paper projects like this, it just goes better. So once again, I can keep laying it down. There's one thing I haven't done yet. I'm going to take this entire piece off. The reason being is I need to be able to get my punch in there. So I'm taking that whole thing right off. Okay. So far, my bottom matches up. Pretty good. I would come back and take a little tiny bit of mitering on this corner too. It'll just all tuck in better. I forgot to do this one when I made my first demo and it just did not go. All right, so I'm laying this back on here again. And I have to take this complete corner off. I'm hoping by having this demo that will help people know where to cut and take off. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut up to the score line. Cut up to the score line. I have to cut this one off right above that score line. I have to cut this one off right above the score line. Now, if there were any large pieces of the designer series paper, would I save them? I would, because I might be able to use them again. So I'm going to miter these corners. Miter these on this tab. Once you make, like I made one and then all of a sudden it started coming together like, oh, I can do this. That's what I'm hoping will happen for you too. The last thing is I have to miter these two. Just a little bit. Okay. I think I'm done with my snips. So let's line it up. Oops, with my template. Well, we can line it up with this too. This, you can see I cut everything I'm supposed to cut. And I can line it up with this. Does it look correct? It sure does. Are these always exactly the same size? No. And that's totally fine. I actually didn't miter this on my example, which I should before my class. Okay, so now here was a clever part that she did. So you can get this part centered here. What she said, and it's going to be centered in here, is I'm going to put this little sticky note. What I did is I took my punch, and this is the sticky end. I punched out the bottom so I know where to put my jar. So I'm just going to try to get it as centered as I can. It's not going to be perfect, and I'm okay with that. You want to leave about a 1/4 inch on the bottom, a little bit. First one I didn't, and I had a hard time adhering the window sheet. So now you can kind of fold those up if you want. And you're going to carefully slide this. And if it comes out, it's okay. Slide this into where your sticky note is. And give it a punch. Now, could you use this for another project? You sure could. And if I were you, I would save it. That's a personal preference. Now here's the next part. Take it out gently so you don't rip your paper. And somehow it's getting stuck on something. So hopefully it's not stuck too much. I love when I have to do that on camera. Come on. I think it's stuck on that tab. Okay. I'm hoping I'm not going to rip it. Gentle, gentle. Come on. Yep, I got stuck on that tab. So be careful when you're taking it out or putting it in. And it's probably best to have those tabs up and secure when you're putting it in. I didn't demo that great, but there we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn this over, and we're going to adhere a little bit of brown here for, this is early espresso, and the lid top is 3/4 by 1 7/8. So I'm just going to kind of coat here so I can adhere that. Notice I just went around the top of the jar lid, and I'm going to adhere that right there. Now I have my window sheet, and hopefully it hasn't got yuck on it. It is 1 7/8 by 2 5/8, and it will fit in here lovely. So the reason I left a little bit more down here is because last time I didn't leave enough, and you really want to put some tear and tape down there. I tried it on the window sheet, but I would recommend putting it right down there. It's not going to show because I left enough room. And I'm going to put this here at the top. Then I'm going to take this up. Take that off. Take that off. And I'm going to adhere my window sheet right there. And that is the beginning of, and I got a little bit of on it, the beginning of this really fun box. Okay, I've done all the hard stuff. The good news is when you come to my class, everything is going to be scored. So you're just doing the cutting and putting things together. If you have a class with customers, hopefully you'll do the same thing. I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive here. And I'm going to fold this over. And I'm going to fold it right here. It should match up just perfectly. If I cut it correctly, which it appears I did. I love when that happens. Okay. So now I turn around and I can start putting the rest of it together. Look at, I'm getting excited. And if you get little, I call it like fluffy stuff, you know, just get it out of the way. Here's what I did. She did not do this, but I did. And I liked the way I did it, you know, whatever. I took some green glue again. Make sure you use green glue for a project like this. It just works so much better. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this little tiny tab in there. Don't worry. Everything will be fine once I get it. So I got it all tabbed in there. And I'm going to take my glue and actually tap it down in there. And it taps it together. Isn't that? I saw that at Paper Pixie. I thought, well, that's brilliant. Now, all I have to do, I'm going to take one out of here. Well, maybe I have another one. I have to add in my little hand sanitizer. And see, this one, I might even want to score a little bit more. If you get to this and you go, gee, that's just not going in there that great, trim it up. That's what I do. I'm going to put that in like that. You want it to be able to, so they can open it. The last thing I'm going to do is take some of this beautiful Darling Duckling, or I could take, I also have Timid Tiger, so I'm going to, people at my class get a choice. I'm going to, you know what? Let me do the Timid Tiger. Now I'll use the, I don't want to take up your time. We're already 16 minutes here. So I'm going to just tie this in a little knot. I always make sure it goes up and down. And then tie again. Oops, up and down. You can hold it. And here we go. Is that the cutest little, and you can trim it off, of course. Let me do that with my ribbon scissors. And what a cute little gift. Now, Nellie said you could put a glue dot because it does kind of jiggle around in there. If you don't want it jiggling too much, you can definitely put a glue dot in there. And you can see this came up a little bit. So I'm going to tuck that back in. And really, I could put a little bit of glue there if I wanted to. Usually it pretty much holds. And there we have our cute little hand sanitizer box. So I hope you try this and have a wonderful day.